Sunday bubble morning. I'm here with Dave.
Well, hello everyone. We made sure to start just after noon so we could have bubbles.
It didn't stop us previously, but maybe one of us wanted to sleep in a little bit, and that might have been me. Let me know if you're here. Let us know. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us this morning. We're going to make some hash. Let us know if you're pouring your bubbles and what you're putting in them. Ours are plain today. I like to just wave a little orange over it sometimes. Don't add too much os to the mim. The mim osa. All right. Dave gets his fee. This is Dave's fee for helping out on Sunday mornings. Mm-hmm. Cheers, everyone. All right, let's put that away. Keep it cold. All right. So this morning I'm working with a hash. We're going to do a sweet potato hash with a little bit of apple. Skip the apple if you don't have it. Skip the sweet potato if you don't have it. Use a real potato, right? We're working our way through our quarantine, and we're using what we have in our houses. And so these are just options for you. You can see I've even got like little ends of onions. I'm just going to use up little ends of onions. Who's out there with me?
Melissa says that she actually put makeup on for you today too. So.
Oh, thanks, Melissa. Nice. I have said this a couple of times over. You know, working out of the house, I really most days don't even wear makeup unless I'm going out to, you know, do a demo or meet with a client or go to do a corporate wellness. And now I feel like every single day I'm putting just a little makeup on. Weekends I'm skipping the eye makeup, but I'm putting a little base makeup on. Cleaning up for you guys, you know? I want to look good for you.
And Pat says cheers. Hopefully they've broken into their own bubbles or
Pat?
Other libations.
Pat, congratulations on that new ride that you guys got. Looks amazing. I think that's the right, I'm guessing that's the right Pat.
Yeah, Pat Nelson.
If not Pat, other Pat, well, find a new ride and then let me know about it. Okay guys, I'm just taking some onions here and I just chopped them up. You can see I've got a bevy of red onions and some leftover white. Those were just little ends that I had left over. Over here, I've got a pan heating up and I'm gonna add a little avocado oil. Just a little. I've got a cast iron skillet, so I don't feel like I have to have, you have to have a lot of oil. Any pan is going to work. Just heat that up a little bit. Remember, don't put your food in until that oil is hot. And what we want it to do is we want those onions to sizzle when they get in there. That's about ready. We're about good. I'm starting to get to learn the heat on my electric heater over here. So we're going to put those in. We're just getting those started. We're just getting them going. I got my scraper today. All right. And I think there's a few other people that are following along. And I know it's really tough to comment when you're just following along. So at some point, if you're following along and you need some help, just put your knife down, get on there, and let us know what's happening. Dave's there to help us out, so he'll tell us if you need something. A little easier because I don't miss all the comments this way too. A little easier to chat with you guys. Okay, letting those onions just cook down. And as I mentioned, I have orange sweet potato today and I have a purple sweet potato. Have you guys seen these before? I have a half of each because again, I was actually doing a different video and I had these left over and I thought I've got to use them up. But you know what this makes me think of? Easter's coming, right? Easter's next Sunday. I almost didn't realize, it almost escaped us. Here, when I cut into this purple, this is how amazing that purple looks. Isn't that great? So now we got orange and purple. I guess it could be Mardi Gras too. Easter or Mardi Gras, whichever one you want it to be. Yeah, so Easter's coming up, which may or may not interest you, depending on what's going on in your faith. For Easter, Dave and I host an annual pasta party every year, and we're still going to host that. We figured it's going to be Zoom, right? People are just going to have to make their own pasta. We called it a BYOP&W. So bring your own pasta and wine. Guys, I'm just chopping my sweet potato into some nice little cubes. trying to be somewhat consistent with them. You know, this is all we're looking for is just some chopped up cubes. And I should say, now I leave my skin on. If you're buying organic, leave your skin on. There's a lot of great nutrients and fiber in that skin. So I have the skin on. I use part of the skin for something else. What's left of my skin, I'm leaving it on. My onions a little tossed. They're getting a little toasty over here. Oh, they smell delicious. Just the smell of just onions. Just cooking onions are great. I'm dropping in my purple sweet potatoes.
So Pat is saying that Missy made sweet potato hash this morning, so I guess she's out in front of you.
She's got me beat. How was? Tell me how you made it. I might need some help. I'm kind of making things up over here. I'd love to hear about it. And did you put an egg on it? I always think like an egg on top of hash is wonderful if you can eat eggs.
So how do you define hash? Is it just stuff chopped up and stir-fried? What's going, like, why is it a hash?
Yeah, stuff chopped up and stir-fried. I think that's a good explanation. I was like, I don't know. I've never been asked to define hash before. Yeah. You think about like when you buy like that corned beef hash, it's just a whole bunch of little mixtured stuff inside of a can. Well, we just don't want to buy the canned stuff. Anybody got a better definition for hash? Happy to take it.
And so then this is great for using up whatever you have left around the house after a week of quarantine. Is that what you're saying?
Really perfect to use up. In fact, most of my recipes these past 2 weeks have been exactly that. We're using up these leftover sweet potatoes. Guys, what else is in your fridge that you think would go well with the hash? With the sweet potatoes? Or in a hash, I should say. You know, one of the things I'm thinking of is like Brussels sprouts are always great in a hash. Broccoli would be great in a hash. Now, I wouldn't probably put something like iceberg lettuce in my hash. That's probably not the best use of your iceberg lettuce. However, if you want to put it in there, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear how that goes. I'm going to add a little salt in here, you guys. I've got my pink Himalayan salt. You know, it's one of my favorite salts. I add just a bit in there. If you're a pepper fan, oh yeah, look how pretty this is. We're really working with colors today. Lots of colors. If you're a pepper fan, a little bit of pepper here is great. I found just a tiny bit of pepper in my pantry. And I suppose I really could add, just start ordering some of this off Amazon, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm kind of feeling like I just want to keep using what I have. I don't want to keep restocking all the time. So one other thing, it's a little harder to cut, so I'm going to cut it that way. I have in my refrigerator, if you've been following along this week, we made a rutabaga pasta. So I had a little piece of rutabaga left that came off of my spiralizer. And I'm going to chop that up and put that in. It's a root vegetable. Hash is great for root vegetable type of veggies, things that are just a little bit more firm. Turnips could be really lovely in here too if you're a turnip fan.
So Matt just noted that in French, haché means chopped. So
thank you. I was hoping Matt was going to be on and correct whatever I might say that isn't possibly true.
And Pat noted that they put onion, sausage, thyme, sweet potato, and of course an egg on top.
Nice. Awesome. So I love the addition of fresh thyme in my hash. I don't have any. If you have some, it's a great thing to end with. Little freshness at the very end is great. All right, guys, we're just letting those cook up. I probably got my pan a little bit more full. I got a little, my eyes are always bigger than my stomach. I probably didn't need all of those sweet potatoes, but they're so pretty in there. Isn't it nice? Nice.
So how do you know when they're done cooking?
So they're done when you take a bite of them and they're at the temperature and the texture that you like. So actually, that one was at the bottom. I don't like my veggies overcooked. I like them to have a nice crispness on the outside, just fork tender on the inside. We have to think about this. The longer that we cook our vegetables, the more nutrients we're cooking out. So So I tend to do things a little bit less than mushy. And I don't think a mushy hash is totally what we want. We want something that's a little bit, that has just a little bit of texture to it. The best way you know when something's done, taste it, right? You know, especially when you can. Obviously, you can't do that with things like cake. But when it's something like this, just take a little piece out and see if you like where it's at. Yeah.
Melissa's wondering if you could add garlic to it, or would that overpower the flavors?
Garlic would be great in here. I decided not to go that route because I'm doing a little spice sauce at the end. So I just decided not to go that route. I think garlic in there would be great. Is garlic ever really bad? Honestly? Well, maybe sometimes. Sometimes. I have done some things in my smoothies. I've tried some crazy stuff in my smoothies like garlic, and it wasn't maybe the best thing I've ever done with my smoothies. I think if you got the right combination, it could work. So guys, I had an apple as well. I had a bevy of apples at the beginning of this, and I've been working my way through them. And I'm just going to chop up these apples, and I'm going to toss them in my hash. If you don't have the apples, just skip it. Doesn't need to be in there, right? You can just skip it. But apples and sweet potato actually go really, really nice together. You get just this little sweetness from it. I don't put that in as soon as I put in my sweet potato. Notice that I'm putting that in a little bit afterwards, so that it doesn't get overly mushy. Look at how pretty that's looking. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Easter in a skillet.
So if you don't have access to fresh herbs, what about just dried herbs?
Dried herbs, absolutely. If you have dried herbs, put them in now. Dried herbs have to rehydrate. So we want to make sure you're getting your dried herbs in early and getting them in with that oil to let them rehydrate. Fresh herbs at the very end, dried herbs in the beginning. I see Dave's laughing. There's some fun comments coming.
Folks are using garlic to taste, and there's worries of vampires out there being impacted. If you're a vampire, say no to garlic.
Say no. Well, you know what? Apple a day keeps the doctor away. Garlic clove a day keeps the vampires away. Yeah. I wonder how they're, but they're quarantined right now too, so I don't think we have to worry about vampires right now. Aren't they quarantined too?
What about corona zombies?
No, now we're going off the rails, guys. Off the rails. All right, we're going to mix up a little sauce today, and this is going to be a super, super, super simple sauce. I'm using a tahini paste. Let me know, so tahini is just blended sesame seeds. What can you use if you don't have tahini paste in your house? Of course, you could just blend up some sesame seeds, right? If you really felt like it. I don't know if you're going to on a Sunday morning. But what can you use instead of...
You could blend up sesame seeds if you had sesame seeds.
If you have sesame seeds, yeah, you could blend them up. Okay, but if you don't have sesame seeds and you don't have tahini paste, what could you use? Oh, I lost a little guy there. Throw him back in. Throw him back in, Dave. Look at how fun. I love when these things just get to that little charbroiled edge. Isn't that nice? It's getting soft and delicious. I like it. Any thoughts on replacements for tahini? I'm adding a little more salt to mine. This is going to be a really simple. I'm not doing a lot of spices in here. You could add cumin. You could add a little coriander. Oh, there is one thing I'm adding. I'll show you my favorite thing. For those of us, if you had sausage, start with sausage. If you have bacon, start with bacon. We're going meat-free because we just don't have any in the house right now. But this is my favorite thing that I use when I want just that little essence of meat flavor and I don't have any meat. I'm using a smoky paprika. This very specific smoky paprika came from Barcelona. And every time anybody goes to Barcelona that I know is going, I ask them to go to this spice house and get me this smoky paprika. Of course, any smoky paprika will do. This is a really cool spice shop that we went to, that they also roasted their own nuts. And they had this amazing, 100-year-old, 150-year-old roaster. Mm-hmm. So we got to sit and watch the owner roast nuts and got to watch that whole process. It was actually really pretty cool.
You're going to have to be careful with how much you use because it may be a while before we get back to Barcelona.
That's unfortunate. I don't have a backup. That's already half gone. I can't make it a month. Okay, so back to our tahini paste dressing. If you don't have tahini paste, you could use something like a peanut butter. Right, that's kind of that similar, any kind of nut butter really is going to work here. Sesame seed butter, too. If you have sesame seed butter, that works really well. Okay,
so
one more thing.
The tahini is just adding sort of a nutty, earthy flavor, or what's?
Yeah, it's adding kind of it's our base, so it's adding a thickness and a creaminess to it. One more thing. I was gonna put chickpeas in my hash too, and I'm gonna be honest with you, my chickpeas kind of full right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put them in because I want the chickpeas open anyway. Chickpeas are already cooked if you're opening them out of a can. They don't need much more than just enough time to warm. If you've been following along the past couple of weeks, I showed that you can use the chickpea liquid. It's called aquafab, and I showed how you can make this into kind of a mayonnaise. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna make some more things out of it this week. Maybe this week we'll make it into a whipped cream. I know. Dave's head just kind of exploded just a little bit. He's like, "You've been serving me that for whipped cream? It's delicious."
I think we've also seen it as an egg replacement in drinks too that require egg whites.
We have seen it as an egg white replacement.
Not that it's all about the alcohol.
Well, on Sundays it is. Oh, our hash is looking great, guys.
Matt says he has some paprika, but I'm not sure he's offering to trade it for toilet paper.
Oh, I don't have any paprika and I don't have any toilet paper. I don't know. We're down to 2 rolls. In fact, I actually had a dream about this last night that we found some toilet paper someplace. We found 2 rolls, and that was our allotment. We were down to that. All right. So let's recap, guys. Over here we've got the sweet potato hash. I've got orange sweet potatoes. I have purple sweet potatoes. We started with a little bit of onion. We've only added some salt and some pepper. I added a little bit of an apple, and then a little bit of chickpea just went in there. A little salt and pepper. And
no iceberg lettuce.
Still think it'd be a good use if you accidentally bought some iceberg lettuce and you did something to do with it. I added a little smoky paprika and that's it. But again, like some cumin or other things like that is going to be great in there. In the bowl, I'm making us a little sauce. Some of you might even think of this as a ketchup sauce. There's some people out there who like ketchup on a lot of food, and I'm not one of them. I'm a true Chicagoan. I definitely like my mustard, but I do have this this ketchup apron on today, so I thought we better make some sort of ketchup sauce. So this is what we're replacing. Instead of a ketchup, I'm making a little tahini sauce, and I'm using lemon juice. So I'm just squeezing in some fresh lemon. Notice, guys, too, like when I you see people who use those really cool lemon juicers that are all they have like this little tip on them. I just use a fork. Like, I don't know, don't feel like you have to go and buy more utensils, or just use what you have. Use that fork.
And just as a safety note, don't push the fork too far in.
Actually, as a safety note, don't use a knife for that. I will say one of my very, very first times I was ever in front of an audience, I was just using my knife just to quickly get the juice out, and I did slice it right through the lemon and into my hand. And I was giving the talk at basically a school, and they had to go get the nurse, and the nurse had to bring me bandages. So, it didn't stop me. I'm still out here. I'm still with you guys. I'm still going. Things happen though.
I would like to know, anybody out there, last time you went to the school nurse? Monique probably has you beat.
I got you beat. Okay, so guys, I have some chipotle peppers here. And I thought a little heat in here would be great. So I have a chipotle pepper. If you're not a big spice fan, don't put this whole entire chipotle pepper in. Put like a quarter of it in, and then you could always add a little bit more. This is going to be super spicy. I'm adding it all in because I just like a lot of spice.
So that looks like it's a homemade pepper.
It's from a homemade pepper. I bought this in, it was just a can. You buy these Chipotle peppers in a can. I have them in a jar because I had pulled them out and used only one for a different recipe, and then I just froze the rest. Again, you guys know how I like to use my freezer for things. Like, I don't like anything to go bad. And so then I thought this morning, this would be a great little Chipotle ketchup to make. All right, my hash. How are you guys doing? Anybody making hash with me out there? My hash is feeling really good. Yeah. If you like things a little softer, you're probably going to want your hash to cook just a little bit longer. Mine's pretty good. I like it. So I've got tahini. I've got lemon. I'm gonna add a little more lemon in here. And I've got some chipotle peppers in here. If you don't have the chipotle peppers, do you have sriracha? If you have sriracha, you've got yourself a sauce. I need more lemon because it's supposed to be a little more liquidy into a sauce.
So it seems like much of the ingredients you're adding are smoky based. What if you're not a fan of smoke?
Then you skip the paprika. And if you don't have the smoky paprika, skip the paprika. You can use regular paprika, like a sweet paprika. And again, skip the chipotle peppers. Go with your sriracha, or if you have just any other hot sauce, go with the hot sauce. That'll be fine, totally fine too. All right, give this a taste. I mean, again, a really simple, a little bit of salt. Let's add a little bit of salt in here. That chipotle kick is starting to come through. And I need a little champagne.
So the sauce is not liquidy. It's more of it's a little bit of a paste.
It's more of well, it's kind of a thick sauce. Like just something that you're gonna like dollop over. And if you want it a little thinner, then we just add a little more lemon. Being cautious of those seeds in there. I think I see one that snuck in. That's the only thing. Oh, maybe it didn't. Okay. I thought I had a seed in there, but maybe it didn't get in there. That's the only thing to be cautious of. And so a little more lemon is going to calm that spiciness if you put too much spice in there. And then you've got more of a thicker sauce. See? Okay. Or a thinner sauce, excuse me. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys, let's put this thing together now. Let me clean up a little bit of my mess. Just clean off my table here. Last thing, guys, is if you want the egg. Are we going to do an egg in ours? Dave want an egg? Dave says yes. So the one thing I know about Dave is he likes his eggs actually kind of scrambled, kind of broken. I tend to like mine just straight up. And all I'm doing is making some room in my hash. Again, I got my bowl a little filled. I got my platter a little filled. Almost forgot to put our eggs in there. So I'm just going to do this for Dave. So it's a little bit broken. That's all we need to do. If your skillet looked really kind of dry, and it's not the cast iron skillet, you might have wanted to put just a touch more oil underneath where those eggs are going to go, just to make sure they come out of your pan well. All right. How is everyone doing now? Good? Everyone's cooking, right? I'm going to add a little salt to those eggs, just on top of those eggs. And I do like a little pepper on my eggs. If you don't like pepper, you're going to leave that pepper off. Tell me, what kind of things are you running out of in your house, your pantry items that you normally have that you haven't replaced? For me, it's pepper, and it's also mustard. Dave did this to me. He went, I'm empty. So I had to stop and refill for just a quick second. Yeah, for me, the pepper is empty. I'm out of all mustard. All my stone ground mustards, all my Dijon mustards. I do have a little mustard powder hidden in the closet for backup, but it's not quite the same as a Dijon. Yeah.
So Matt's wondering, when would you add all the seasonings? Salt, pepper, dried stuff?
So anything that's dried, I would have added them. If I'm adding any of those dried spices, I would have added them early on when I added my potatoes or onions. And early on, if it's dried, it needs to be rehydrated. So I like adding that in early to give it a chance to rehydrate. Yeah.
But salt and pepper seems to be later?
Salt and pepper, I was kind of doing a little bit throughout, right? I added a little salt in when I first put those potatoes in, and then I was tasting a little bit and decided to add a little bit more at the end. I don't want to over salt things very much in the beginning. You've got to give it a chance to cook and see where it's going to land. And then I knew, like, on those eggs, I wanted to add a little egg, a little on top of my eggs too. Yeah. Salt can really break foods down too, so I don't like always adding it really early in the dish. Sometimes it can really break down those vegetables. So I tend to like to add those that salt and pepper a little bit later, so that it doesn't break that down so much.
Great. And Jenny says cheers, guys. So let's all...
Jenny, is Marty with you? Is that the right Jenny?
Hopefully she notices the world champion Blue Bomber shirt.
Blue Bombers, guys. Winnipeg Blue Bombers won the Grey Cup this year. Woo woo! Let's give it up for them. Yes, I'm still reveling in it. In fact, I thought it was going to be too much. I was going to do, because I heard potentially one of the coaches might be watching us today, so I went with the shirt. I was actually going to wear the hat too. I thought it was maybe too much, but maybe not. I don't know. Let's see if we get anything. Dave's like wriggling his nose. It's like, no, it's too much. Guys, I put a lid on top of my pan because I wanted the top of those eggs just to get a little more toasty. And I forgot I turned my skillet way down, so I'm gonna give those just another minute. Cook your eggs until they're done to your liking. I like mine really nice and loose. Dave likes his a little more cooked, so we might take mine out first. I look like a good trucker hat going on here. Okay, so let's recap for just a minute. I've got sweet potato hash. I started out with sauteing some onions, and then I put in 2 kinds of sweet potatoes. I used an orange sweet potato and a purple sweet potato. You could use just one. I used a half of each, and you could use regular potatoes if you have them. And then I added in a little rutabaga because I had some rutabaga left over. It's that nice hearty root vegetable. So I added that in as well. Then we let that cook for a few minutes. I added in some fresh apple to give it just a little bit of that freshness to it. Let that cook. We added some salt and pepper and a couple of eggs to it, and that's going to be our hash. Then we came over here, and what we did is we took a little bit of tahini paste, ground tahini, and we mixed it with just some simple lemon and a chopped up chipotle pepper for some good smokiness. If you don't have the chipotle pepper, go with any hot sauce that you have in the house. And if you don't like hot sauce, just totally skip it. Like, that's totally fine too. We added some chickpeas into our hash as well right before we added those eggs, just to get a little more. I wanted a little more protein in there because I wasn't using any meat. If you went with meat, and if you like meat, go ahead and put your meat in right before you put those onions in. All right, let's get something out. How's everybody out there doing? Anybody following us along, or you're busy cooking so you can't talk? I covered my pan to help those eggs cook a little quicker because I don't want you guys feeling like you had to sit here and watch me all day. All right.
And the other thing we learned, that as long as you chop it up, you can call it hash.
And that is, thank you to Matt, who jumps on and keeps us very honest about these things. Look at how yummy that looks. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Getting my egg out. Dave and I are clearly sharing the same plate. I'm going to put us on separate plates. And just taste your hash, guys. If you like your hash a little bit softer than mine, keep it cooking, but I think you'll find this is pretty ready. All right, let's get the chipotle pepper sauce. You're just going to drizzle this over the top. If I had a little parsley, I would do some parsley on there. Just a little tiny bit of freshness, but I'm out. But what I do have is I found a little half of an avocado left over from the dip that I made yesterday. So if you were with me yesterday, there's a little brownness on it, so I'm just going to take off the top layer.
So Melissa added some extra sharp cheddar, which is delicious.
That sounds wonderful. Dave's like, I want extra sharp cheddar now.
I do.
Yeah, his eyes lit up.
Jenny just bought some eggplants. And do you have any suggestions for eggplant hash?
Oh, yeah. Eggplant's going to get a little softer when you cook it. So just if you're going to add it with some of these other ingredients, add it a little later, in my opinion. Everybody likes the hash eggplant a little bit differently, but for me, I don't like to saute it too long, so I would cube it up and then add it a little bit after I got my potatoes going. Think about it more as the apple.
So basically, same recipe, just substitute eggplant for whatever you want.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Little avocado on my side because Dave doesn't like avocado. I'm making a mess over here. Oh, my egg.
Well, I just don't love avocado.
It's not his favorite, and that's okay. Look at that creamy, runny yolk on my side, though. I'm just gonna smoosh that all over the place. Oh, delicious, guys. Okay, well, that's our Sunday morning breakfast together. Thank you, Dave, for being with us. We appreciate it, and everybody loves to have you here. And I'm Monique, and if you're watching us on replay, we are Happy Eats Healthy with Monique. We're the Facebook group page on Facebook. Join us over there. We're cooking every single day to help us get through this quarantine together. Reach out, let me know what's in your pantry so we can cook together. And if you make this, don't forget to tag Happy Eats Healthy on Facebook and on Instagram. And keep in touch. And as always, much love to all of you. Stay safe. Bye.